Thank you, Mr. Kennedy, for being here. I know you're a busy man, but we have so many questions tonight. I know we only got you for about an hour or so, so I'm going to do my best to get through all of them. But before we go into the policies, the candidate who's running for president, I wanted to go into the man who's running for president. And like Elizabeth said, so much of what I heard and saw at that dinner was a man full of questions, a man very open, someone that's passionate about helping others. But one thing I didn't see at that dinner that I just learned recently from something that went viral, that you're also incredibly ripped. And you obviously, put your health first, which is an amazing thing. You may be one of the most fit presidential candidates in the history of America. So I want to start with that. What is your secret to staying so fit and healthy?
Well, I hike every morning. I hike about 3 miles with my dogs. I do my meditations on those hikes, and then I hike uphill, and then I go to a gym almost every day, and I stay only 35 minutes. And I do a very, very intense workout during that time. And that way it's sustainable. I've been doing that most of my adult life. It's sustainable because I never, if you stay there an hour, more than an hour, then there's always times you're not going to be able to do it, but there's almost no time, no day that you don't have a half hour to give. And that's, I think, for me, that's worked really well.
Well, it's obviously working. And I love that you practice what you preach. You put quality over quantity, which is something that's incredibly important in these days. And those health regimens, being in nature, you're a naturalist, you're a falconer, you walk, you meditate, you do all these things, which are amazing. But you've also referred to past struggles and addictions. It wasn't always that you were so healthy. And, a lot of candidates like to stay away from those subjects. I know you haven't, and you've talked about your connection to faith in God. Can you go into that a little bit more of how that helped you through your struggles? Because I just don't feel like we talk enough about spirituality in politics. And I'd love to hear your take on that.
Well, I came from a really, I would say, deeply religious family. We say pray the rosary at least once a day. We went in the summer times, we went to church twice a day, often, almost always once a day. And we prayed before and after every meal. My father read us the Bible at night. So there was a lot, and the entire family was, the religion was pervasive. It was kind of an organizing gravity of our lives. But during the period I became, after my dad died, when I was 14. And beginning when I was 15, I would say, an addict or heroin user for 14 years. So I quit when I was 20. I got sober when I was 28. And I actually, I had tried to get sober many, many times. When you're an addict, when you're living against conscience, I always knew it was wrong. You kind of push God out of your life. And so, I still believe, if somebody asked me, do I believe in God? I'd say yes. But I didn't have any sense that there was a higher power that was involved in my day-to-day life. When I tried to get sober many, many times, but before I discovered 12-step program, I tried earnestly, sincerely, honestly, in many, many ways to quit, and I would succeed for 3 months, 4 months, a week or 2 weeks, and I could never do it. And then when I finally got sober in September 1983, I didn't want to be like an addict who was white knuckling it and who was trying to, who was every day waking up and thinking, I just got, I got to fight the urge and the compulsion to take drugs today. I wanted to be like a normal person who never thought about drugs. And I knew that throughout history, there had been people who had these profound spiritual realignments. And, St. Francis was one who had a very kind of debauched life. Augustine was another, St. Paul. I'd read all the lives of the saints and read about these spiritual experiences that transform people at a core level. I also had my little brother had a friend who used to take drugs with us. My brother was an intravenous drug user too. And this kid became, some point, he joined the Moonies. So he became a follower of Reverend Sun Myung Moon, which was a kind of a cult. But he had this spiritual awakening that was genuine, and he would still hang out with us, but he didn't want drugs. He didn't want them. He wasn't even resisting them. The compulsion was completely gone with him. And I used to think about him when I was first getting sober, and I think, this is what I was thinking at the time. So I was very judgmental, but I'd say to myself, I'd rather be dead than be a Moonie. But I wish somehow I could get whatever it was that distilled, whatever it was that he had that made him impervious to this, to this compulsion.